Hey, what's happening? Right after this video, I am going to assault that cupcake sitting right there. Um, if you want to save it, you could send me $1, and I promise not to assault. Just kidding, but I am going to assault that cupcake. Someone's going, fat ass. Geez, you give me some pleasure in life, you know? It's not like I'm sitting there eating stuff in my face with sweets. I don't actually eat sweets, but once in a while I'll have a cupcake, which I definitely should not be eating, but life is short. Yeah. Getting to the point. Someone's like, he flaps his lips too much. I don't like him. Autofocus. 4 locus points for autofocus speed or lack thereof. 2 camera side, and 2 of them are lens side. Well, technically there's like 3, but let's just make it simple. And this is something else nobody else talks about, and it pisses me off. 2 that are camera side, starting with that. Obviously I'm holding a Fuji, I should be holding a Nikon right now. There's a screw drive, there's a motor that actually sticks out like a flathead screwdriver on your camera. That is for like D-series Nikors, and what it does is it engages a little blade into the back of the lens, and it actually inserts into a female slot, and that actually drives a mechanical mechanism that autofocuses the lens. Obviously so, that is slower than like a silent wave motor like an AFS or a current faster Nikkor G-series lens. So that is something to consider if you're planning on shooting wildlife or sports. I mean, is it a silent wave motor Nikkor lens? Is it a D-series? Because if it is a D-series lens or a pre-D, a pre-D is basically the same as a D-series. The only difference is some baloney data that is transmitted from the lens to the camera to calculate distances for flash output. But a pre-D is still a D. I mean, if it's got that little slot in the back of the lens, then that means it'll usually say it on the lens too. It'll say D-series lens. So obviously that is slower, like the 80 to 200 to 2.8 D-series Nikkor. It is driven by the camera, like a Nikon D7000 and above. The camera actually has a little motor. I've taken more than a few of them out, and it actually engages the lens. So it is literally a little screwdriver driving that lens. G-series, you actually have an internal motor in the lens, and it is very close to the drive mechanism of the lens itself. The power that feeds that motor is obviously fed through the contacts on the lens, just like on this Fuji here. So it's actually fed to the motor that drives that lens for autofocus. Obviously faster, and certainly there are more iterations of that. The other issue with autofocus, like the Nikon D600, and the same autofocus system is found in the Nikon DF, is notoriously slow. That has to do with the autofocusing system itself, not due to either the motor on the camera or the motor in the lens or lack thereof, but rather the processing acquisition that occurs in the autofocus read bay that is processed through the camera, that transmits information either to the lens or to the camera, which drives the screw drive on a D-series lens, to tell it, where to focus. Do you need to move it this way? Do you need to move it that way? So you could have the fastest lens in the world on like a Nikon D600, for example, and be like, oh, this is not as fast as that tattooed freak said. And I'll say, what were you shooting? It's like, oh, I got a Nikon D600. It's like, bingo, there it is right there. More issues arise on this in low light situations. So the Nikon D600 is kind of like a crusty old coot with bad eyesight. It has issues in low light, but it has issues in general. So it is not fast. Even if the lens is damn fast, it's still going to be an issue because it still has to process that information to send the information to the lens. If it's a silent wave or a G-series with an internal motor in the lens, to drive the focus in or out one way or the other to attain focus acquisition. So you have 2 focus issues to worry about camera side and 2 focus issues to worry about lens side. Now, if you've got the absolute best camera side and the absolute best lens side, then you're rocking and rolling. But you need to know, obviously, the D series and the pre-D, which is basically a D, you know, that is a mechanical drive. The actual camera drives that lens mechanically. And you're actually locking in, and the camera is driving the gear to focus that lens, so it cannot be that fast. Versus like a Tamron, you know, 70 to 200, or like the Nikkor 70 to, which is a damn fast lens autofocus wise. The Nikkor 70 to 300 VRG series. Remember, there's a lot of 70 to 300 autofocus lenses, a lot of them, and not all of them are fast. But the 70 to 300 VRG is damn fast. But if you take that damn fast lens and you throw it like on a Nikon D600, well, baby, the D600 does not process information for autofocusing damn fast. Well, it is still fast, but it's not as good as we'd like it. Let's just put it that way. Another reason why I'm not a fan of the Nikon D600. So consider that regarding your camera, because those are the 4 points which affect autofocus speed. Obviously, ambient light, whether you're shooting a well digger's ass at the bottom of a well at 3 o'clock in the morning and you got no light at all, obviously that's still an issue too. So your ambient light is obviously an issue regardless of how damn fast the lens is or the camera is. But you have those 4 points of autofocus which influence each other one way or the other, 2 camera side and 2 lens side. So thanks for watching, and I'm going to go assault that cupcake right now. Someone's going, fatty, whatever, get over it.
Thank you for watching.